Religion, the belief in a god or gods, an organized system of beliefs, ceremonies, and rules used to worship a god or a group of gods. An interest, a belief, or an activity that is very important to a person or group. This is the definition that the Merriam-Webster Dictionary gives to religion. And religion is integral to the state of California. Hi, my name is Tristan Thompson. I'm a fifth-year mechanical engineering student at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, and I want to talk about the religious diversity of California today. Recently, I learned that California is the most religiously diverse place on the planet. We have more religions here in California than any country, state, or any other province or region in the world. This surprised me, quite frankly. Being somebody who was raised in a Christian home, going to Christian church, and going to Christian school from 4th to 12th grade, I wondered, did the religious diversity of California affect me in my upbringing? The more I reflect on this, the more that I realized that yes, religious diversity in California has greatly impacted my upbringing and my own beliefs. You see, while my faith is the same as my parents, it is not the same as my grandparents. My grandfather, on my father's side, was raised Mormon and is still a devout Mormon to this day. In fact, most of his family is actually Mormon, and my dad is the first of his children to not follow in that tradition. My grandmother was raised Protestant, and later in her life, she actually ended up incorporating various New Age and Eastern traditions into our faith. And then to further complicate things, my father's stepfather was Jewish. And all of these religious traditions were part of my dad's upbringing. And yet he broke the mold and chose evangelical Christianity. To put it in perspective just how unique it was that all of these faiths should come together, Mormonism is the major religion of only 1% of California's population, and Judaism is the major religion of only 2% of the entire California population. So it's amazing that my dad actually broke tradition with his family and chose his own religious path of evangelical Christianity. So how does our family manage to navigate these religious differences? Now, before I talk about this, yes, I want to address the elephant in the room. We disagree over religious matters. It happens. It's almost inevitable, actually, that it does. When matters such as truth or God or things that we hold so dear impact us, and we hold them so dear, we hold them as true, of course disputes are going to arise, of course arguments are going to come up, but that's not what I want to focus on, because it's how we navigate and how we move past these differences that I think really is worth talking about. Because it provides context in how we as Californians can embrace the religious diversity that is around us. You see, we don't focus on what drives us apart. We find the things that are common, that make us Californian, that make us family. And we celebrate and we remember those things. You see, some of my fondest memories growing up are the times when I spent Thanksgiving with my grandparents, my Mormon grandparents. And we'd go to White Elephant gift exchanges. You know, we'd celebrate Thanksgiving and Christmas together, which I understand is not necessarily shared amongst all religious faiths in California. So we would come together at these gatherings and we would celebrate things like giving thanks, generosity. We would be kind and good to one another. And rather than focus on what drives us apart, we would find what links us as human beings and what links us as family. So how does this relate to religious diversity in California? I think so often we as Californians, myself included, tend to look at religion as a barrier to being able to be in a relationship with someone. Not like a romantic relationship per se, but just it's a barrier to mutual understanding and respect. But in my experience, that's not the case. It is possible to move past religious differences, to focus on what brings us together rather than what drives us apart. You see, disagreements are going to arise. when we're talking about, I hold what I believe to be true as an evangelical Christian, as much as my Mormon relatives who hold what they believe to be true. I love my family, all of them. I've got, Mormon grandparents. I've got an aunt and uncle who are agnostic. I have a cousin right now who's incorporating Hindu healing practices into her belief system. And, I have my grandma who embraces multiple traditions. And yet, I've learned how to love them for who they are, not let the religious differences drive us apart. So I think what we can do as Californians, what we can do to embrace the religious diversity and really move past the differences that we have, is find what we have in common. Humans desire peace. Humans desire acceptance. They desire love. They desire respect. And I think what we can do is we can focus on these desires that we share, on these things that we all want, and we can bring them together, and we can unite as Californians. Arguments are going to arise, but that's almost inevitable. It's what we do with these differences and how we respond to them that will define us.